Hi, my name is Gareth Stokes. It's urgent that you watch this entire presentation right now, and you'll see why in just a minute. You see, I'm about to reveal step by step how you could have turned 10,000 Rand into 2.8 million in less than 2 years. It's happened before, and now it could happen to you. Just use this secret 10,000 Rand retirement blueprint. Copy this blueprint, and you could retire a millionaire. Now, I know this may sound impossible, but it's not. To do this, you don't need an MBA, you don't need a lot of money, only 10,000 Rand to start, and you don't need a lot of time. But you do need to know how to get rich. And I can help. But if you don't have the will to learn this, then you can stop watching now. So, are you still with me? Alright, great. Then let me tell you how this works. It's a little known stock market investing secret. But don't worry if you've never bought a share before, it's as easy as checking your email or making a quick phone call. Anybody can do it. But I'm not going to talk about big expensive blue chip shares like BHP Billiton or Anglo Gold today. The secret 10,000 Rand retirement blueprint doesn't work with regular shares like these. You need to use something called a penny share. What makes penny shares different from normal shares is that they're cheap, dirt cheap. Shares can go for as little as a few cents to a few rands, so even small or first-time investors can afford to do this. Better still, penny shares can deliver truly explosive profits. In fact, they're potentially the most profitable shares on the JSE. Let me show you what I mean. With a big blue chip share, it can take years for a 50 Rand share to turn into 100 Rand. But with a penny share, a 1 Rand share can become 2 Rand overnight. After all, the share price only has to go up one measly buck. Does that make sense? Good. So with penny shares, you could double your money at lightning speed. Making the same profit with a big share could take years if you make a profit at all. Fact is, penny shares are the best way to get rich. Now, let me show you some proof. Most people think penny shares are riskier than bigger, better known shares, but most people are dead wrong. Renowned investment researcher Roger Ibbotson discovered that penny shares have outperformed large cap shares over the last 80 years. Now, over that same time frame, the small cap index ballooned 427.86%. The small cap index tracks smaller companies, many of which are penny shares that you've probably never heard of. So, why is no one talking about the small cap index and the tiny companies it tracks? Why won't you hear about the amazing profitability of penny shares anywhere else but here? Frankly, the answer is shocking. If penny shares are so great, you'd expect everyone to harness their amazing profit potential and get rich, especially for the chance to turn 10,000 Rand into millions. We'll get to this soon enough. Yet, mainstream media completely ignores penny shares. You see, penny shares are so small, the big fund managers can't trade them. And that's because big investment firms sometimes buy up millions of shares at a time, and it simply isn't profitable for them to play the penny share market. So even though these big boys have trouble playing the little shares, penny shares are great for the little guy and first-time investors. Now, just because penny shares aren't featured on someone's TV show doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. In fact, it's better this way for us. Like I already showed you, penny shares are proven to outperform bigger shares, so let's keep this secret to ourselves. JSE's most ignored shares could make you a retirement millionaire. I'll show you exactly how next. In this real life example, I'll show you just how potent penny shares can be when you follow the secret 10,000 Rand retirement blueprint. Step by step, I'm going to show you how 10,000 Rand could have turned into more than 2.8 million. But I have fair warning for you. What I'm about to show you is risky and requires a lot of luck, and I would never recommend it. This is simply an accelerated example to show you how potent these penny shares can really be. So that being said, these penny share price explosions actually happened. So, although it's highly improbable you'd be this lucky, it's not impossible, and that's important to remember. Alright, here we go. Retirement Blueprint, step number 1. 10,000 Rand turns into 27,800 Rand in only 15 days. African Eagle Resources is a mineral exploration and development company operating in Mozambique, Tanzania, and Zambia. If you haven't heard of them before, then you're not alone. Now, remember, the best profit opportunities are rarely featured on TV or covered by the financial newspapers. So, back to African Eagle Resources. In February 2009, it traded for a tiny 18 cents per share. But with a major breakthrough in its exploration activities in Africa, shares rocketed up to 50 cents. So if you bought African Eagle Resources at the very start and held on, you could have quickly turned 10,000 Rand into 27,800 Rand. Now, that's a nice start, but chump change compared to what's next. But before we move on, let's suppose you put your original 10,000 Rand back into your savings account to cut your risk. So you're just going to roll your 17,800 Rand profit into the next step. That way you're playing with the house money, so you can't lose. Retirement Blueprint, step number 2. Collect 124,600 Rand after a 600% mega gain. You could buy Jubilee Platinum for a meager 100 cents per share in March 2009. But when this miner embarked on an aggressive international acquisition trail, the share price skyrocketed, putting your 17,800 Rand profit from step 1 into Jubilee Platinum would have paid out a staggering 124,600 Rand. Now, that's not bad for a handful of mouse clicks and a few months of work. Now, compare that with a big share like Anglo Platinum. During the same period, shares jumped a whopping 71 Rand 38 cents. That's impressive for a big company. But before the jump, Anglo Platinum shares were already changing hands at 482 Rand. So despite the big jump in the share price, you would only have bagged a 14.7% gain. Now, look at penny share Jubilee Platinum again. It jumped a mouth-watering 600%. Like I said, penny share gains are unrivaled. Here's even more proof. Retirement Blueprint, step 3. Bank 191,844 Rand. Right after Jubilee Platinum's run-up, you could have rolled your 126,600 into a well-known business solutions company called Enterprise Outsourcing Holdings, or EOH. It was trading for just 610 cents a share in July 2009. But by early December, shares were trading for 940 cents. That's enough to turn your 124,600 into 191,844. That's like making more than 498 Rand every single day. Only penny shares are this potent. Now, I understand if this seems impossible for you. After all, it's probably the first time you're seeing something like this. But let me remind you that these gains actually happened, and in this order. So you really could have played this penny share profit string, with a lot of luck and expert timing. But the fact is, there's always opportunity for those with the will to get rich. Remember, it's improbable you'd play something like this, but not impossible. So quit thinking it'll never happen to you. Retirement Blueprint, step 4. A quarter of a way to R1,000,000. Compared to the explosive penny shares already covered in this profit chain, pharmaceutical company Cipla is a red snail. From December 2009 to March 2010, you could have bagged a meager 31% gain. But it would have been enough to take you to over R250,000. What an amazing feeling it would be to see over R250,000 in your bank account, and it's all yours. But keep your hands off, because we're not done yet. There's one last step. Step 5. Making more than 2.8 million Rand in only 4 months. In this day and age, R1,000,000 isn't retirement money. However, 2.8 million might just be. Here's how you'd get it. SA Coil Holdings is a little-known mining company, and in 2010, business was very good. In fact, between March and December 2010, its share price soared from 15 cents to 168 cents. It's a 1,020% gain. Rolling your 251,368 into this run-up, you'd collect more than 2.8 million Rand. In other words, you'd now be a retirement millionaire. Remember, these penny share explosions happened. That's the truth. So, although it's improbable you'd ever ride a profit wave just like this, it's not impossible. That's why I've given you this example.